Hi, it's Edward, back with another video. Please take a moment to click the thumbs up button below and consider subscribing to the channel. Please also share this video via social media and with your friends via email. Thank you for your support. Today, I read several financial news articles. I've included links to the articles in the description below. I encourage you to read the articles to support the authors and news sources. As a private American citizen, I'd like to report and share my transformative thoughts through commentary regarding small sections of these articles that are of public interest. Are we dealing with an economic crisis here in America? Well, the attitudes of some everyday people are pretty grim regarding the economy. Today, I read an article on Yahoo Finance put out by CNN and written by Brian Mina, titled, "Americans' Attitudes About the Economy Worsened for the Fourth Straight Month." According to the author, Americans are becoming gloomier about the economy, with interest rates at a 22-year high and economic growth widely expected to slow. The University of Michigan's measure of consumer sentiment fell 5% in November, according to a preliminary reading released Friday. That was the fourth consecutive month that sentiment soured after improving over the summer. Isn't it interesting that the sentiment about the economy has gotten gloomier the past 4 months? Perhaps this is a coincidence, but student loan payments resumed 3 months ago. Maybe the approximately 44 million Americans who have student loans are dealing with a new reality now that these payments have resumed. Keep in mind, these student loan payments were on pause for over 3.5 years. Now, this is just pure speculation on my part, but it does seem ironic to me that both occurred around the same time. The author of this article says the drop was mostly driven by expected effects of higher interest rates and the ongoing wars in Gaza and Ukraine. Perhaps another reason that consumer sentiment about the economy is so low is because many young people are struggling to buy a house. Now, you might think Gen Z and millennials are having a hard time buying a house because of high interest rates and a lack of housing inventory, but the actress Whoopi Goldberg has her own rationale. I read an article today on Yahoo Finance put out by Fortune and written by Oriana Rosa Royal, titled, "Whoopi Goldberg Tells Gen Z and Millennials That the Reason They Can't Get on the Housing Ladder is because they only want to work 4 hours a day." The author quotes Whoopi Goldberg as saying, "I'm sorry, if you only want to work 4 hours, it's going to be hard for you to get a house." Well, here are my thoughts. Whoopi Goldberg is a talented actress. I remember when she played the character called Guinan on Star Trek: The Next Generation. Guinan was some type of alien being who had a human form that worked as a bartender in the 10 Forward Lounge. Guinan would often have deep conversations with Captain Picard, and she would share her wisdom with him. Well, that was on Star Trek: The Next Generation television show. Here in the real world, Whoopi Goldberg is an actress and not all-knowing. Whoopi Goldberg has a $60 million net worth. It's certainly possible that she could be a bit out of touch with the struggles that some Gen Z and millennials are facing, especially those who haven't seen their modest wages keep up with inflation in recent years. Wages for many young people have not increased to the level that real estate has. Real estate has had a meteoric rise. The author of this article indicates in the last 50 years, home prices have jumped 118% after accounting for inflation, while income has only increased by 15% according to the brokerage Clever Real Estate based on census data. So I think all of you begin to see the uphill battle that some Gen Z and millennial people are facing. The author of this article provides some interesting information about how some Gen Z people are working incredibly hard. According to the author, and I'll quote, "Young workers today are holding down not one, but 3 or more jobs to keep up with the rising cost of living. Some 93% of Gen Z polywork, compared to 28% of baby boomers and 23% of Gen X professionals." Well, ladies and gentlemen, life is certainly different than it was back in the 1950s or 1960s when you could graduate from high school and get a great job with a pension and free health care and earn a wage which would allow you to buy a home in your community and raise a family with enough money left over to take some vacations and maybe buy a new vehicle every few years. Now, we are in the gig economy, where many companies don't want to hire full-time employees. A lot of employers don't want to pay benefits, so they have a business model with armies of part-time workers, or better yet, independent contractors. How times have changed here in America. I'd like to see Whoopi Goldberg work at an Amazon warehouse or a Walmart distribution center, or work as a UPS driver in the summer in the blazing heat, or work at a factory like I did years ago. When I worked at a factory, I stood on a concrete floor for 10 to 12 hours a day with uncomfortable steel-toed boots, and I had to breathe cutting fluid that was misting in the air. Now, just maybe she might retract her comments if she lived and worked like some young people do today who are struggling to save for their first home. Not everyone is lazy. Some people are in a tough situation and they are doing their best with little to no family support. Some fortunate young people have received financial gifts from their parents or grandparents to be competitive in this real estate market, and they have been able to buy homes. Not everyone is in this type of situation. Some have to sacrifice for years in order to save enough for a down payment, and then they have to hope that they can get a property bought before some person swoops in with cash and presents an offer that is more enticing to the seller. What do you think about Whoopi Goldberg's comments about Generation Z and Millennials? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Whoopi Goldberg may not realize that many people around the world, not just here in America, work very physically demanding jobs to earn modest wages, and they often put their life at risk. I read an article today on foxbusiness.com written by Michael Dorgan titled, "Man Crushed to Death by Industrial Robot That Confused Him with a Box. Police." Now, this situation happened to a man in his 40s in South Korea at a vegetable packaging plant. According to the author, the robotic arm is understood to have confused the man for a box of vegetables and grabbed him. It then pushed his body against a conveyor belt before crushing his face and chest. This is a truly tragic situation. My heart goes out to his family during this very difficult time. This story illustrates how many people work jobs that aren't glamorous, and they often put their life at risk to make money. I never dealt with any robotic arms when I worked in a factory after high school, but I did have an accident that could have resulted in some serious harm. Fortunately, I got very lucky. One of my first jobs at the factory was using a forklift to empty all of the large metal chip dumpsters behind the building in a much larger dumpster. The large dumpster was similar in size to what you might see on the back of a semi-trailer. I would raise up each small chip dumpster with the forklift and then climb up to the top of the forklift and release a metal handle that would dump the small chip dumpster's contents into the large dumpster. I had to carefully tilt the forks backwards so the small chip dumpster did not slide off the forks. I must have been really tired one morning and forgot to tilt the forks backwards. I pulled the lever and the chip dumpster and me slid off the forks and into the large dumpster. Fortunately, I did not get injured, but I was completely coated in cutting oil and cutting fluid that was in the large dumpster. I also was coated in human saliva mixed with chewing tobacco. Many people chewed tobacco and then spit into these chip dumpsters. All of this was mixed in with the contents of the dumpster. I didn't get hurt, but I crawled out of that dumpster feeling disgusting. I'm sure some of you watching this video have worked some difficult jobs at some point in your life where you didn't earn much money. Some of you traded hours of your life for money and would have had a difficult time buying a house because the wages were not enough to afford a home. On the topic of low-wage jobs with working conditions that aren't ideal, I read an article on foxbusiness.com written by Sarah Rumpf Witten titled, "Waffle House Workers Rally at Corporate Office, Demanding Better Wages, Working Conditions." According to the author, disgruntled Waffle House employees in Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina rallied outside the company's corporate office, demanding improved working conditions and $25 per hour. The workers, supported by members of the Union of Southern Service Workers, USSW, hand-delivered physical copies of a petition signed by 13,000 employees to corporate officers in Norcross, Georgia on Wednesday. The workers demanded company-wide systemic change, including safety at work, $25 per hour for all positions, and the end of the unjust meal deduction policy. In my opinion, anyone earning less than $25 per hour in our current economy could potentially struggle. People should be paid a livable wage for the work that they are doing. I am sure some of these workers put in an honest day's work and often have to deal with customers who aren't always the friendliest to serve food to. Some people earning less than $25 per hour may struggle even to find housing that fits within their budget. As of February 2023, the average monthly rent for a two-bedroom apartment in America was $1,320. For someone earning less than $25 per hour, there isn't going to be much money left over for food, utilities, healthcare, and vehicle expenses. Forget about saving for retirement or saving to buy a home someday. Some will struggle just to scrape by each month without having to rely on a credit card to bridge the gap. But don't take my word for it. The author of this article references a Waffle House employee named Cindy Smith, who said, and I'll quote, "I've been here for 29 years and only make $2.92 per hour plus tips. I go to work every day, break my back, literally. I'm 50. I do not make any money at all while I hustle on my feet, and I don't make enough to even buy groceries. I've lost weight in the past few months." Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I have never worked as a waiter, but I am sure that the size of tips vary depending on where you work, and I'm sure the size of tips vary considerably depending on the generosity of each customer. I am sure some waiters and waitresses deliver wonderful service and are not compensated accordingly. I truly hope the Waffle House employees are successful with their petition. If the company is doing well, they should share some of the wealth with their hardworking employees. When you think about it, what is a company without its employees? What do you think about all this? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Please keep in mind that nothing in this video is financial advice or advice of any kind. If you need advice, seek advice from a qualified professional in good standing who puts your interests first and foremost. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel. Please also consider sharing this video via social media or via email with your friends. I want to extend a special thanks to everyone who has subscribed to this channel. I want to also thank all of my channel members. Check out some of the great books that I suggest you consider reading in the description below. I've included Amazon affiliate links to these books. As an Amazon associate, I earn from qualifying purchases. Stay healthy and wealthy. I'll see everyone in the next video.